Welcome back. The Buffalo Art Studio strives to highlight independent artists here in Western New York, and I'm joined now by Shirley Verico to tell us more about their newest exhibit opening this Friday. Welcome, Shirley. Thank you so much for coming in.
And thank you for having me.
Of course. Let's talk about Niagara. It's great to be here and what we can expect to see.
So this is an exhibition by Western New York artist Jay Carrier, and the title references a campaign that was from the late 80s, where there was a lot of signage that said, Niagara, it's great to be here. And for Jay, who has grown up in Niagara Falls, he worked in the industry along the river, but he also, he is a Native American who has a very spiritual relationship with the landscape as well. And so there is both sides of this sort of ambivalence to the region, and that's what he's trying to capture in the title. So he has both, there's sort of an ironic take on the word, Niagara, it's great to be here. And he tells the story that he first saw that phrase on the side of an oil tanker up in the falls, so it felt a little forced. But after living and working in the Niagara Falls region for 45 years, he also has this great love of his community. He has this great love of the natural landscape, and all of those emotions and that complicated relationship with the Niagara Gorge, the Niagara River, and the waterfront in general, it is all portrayed in his amazing, amazing canvases.
Can you tell us more about Jay's art and what makes his style unique?
So Jay is an artist who is very expressive, and that's a term we use in art when we're talking about using color and line to share an emotion. And many of Jay's pieces also use assemblage. So he might find objects that around the community, in this case Niagara Falls, and he layers them. So there's a really interesting texture to his work, both in his brush strokes and in the marks he makes, but also in the objects that he physically glues or pastes to the work. And together we end up with these enormous canvases that literally bring something from the Niagara Gorge, but also try to capture something spiritually and conceptually about this complicated relationship that we all have here in Western New York with this beautiful, beautiful waterfront, but that has also had some abuses at the hands of industry.
Yeah. What theme does he usually showcase in his work?
I think it's, again, this ambivalence, this going back and forth. A lot of work, you will see the water or the mighty Niagara Falls placed against, or what in the fancy art word we use is juxtaposed, with some of the negative effects. One of the images that's been shown has these houses that are sort of run down in Niagara Falls. There's a whole section of Niagara Falls, not unlike Buffalo, that has been allowed to deteriorate. And that is alongside what is supposed to be one of the wonders of the world. And how we treat our environment, how we treat our neighbors. These themes run through Jay's work.
Yeah, and environment is such an impactful subject for artists to explore, not just for Jay, but in general, right?
Absolutely. I think we're all trying to grapple with this as human beings. What is our impact? I think it's interesting you have somebody that's coming on after me to talk about not shopping for a year. What does that mean to change our views about consumerism? And I think what is really powerful in Jay's work, though, is there is an optimism. I don't want to make it feel like it's not optimistic. There are several enormous canvases that are just stunning, and the energy and the color and the line work that are in them. It does show that the optimism that we can celebrate our assets, and we can celebrate our landscape, we can celebrate our community.
What are the details for the opening reception?
So Jay Carrier's show opens Friday. And there is an opening reception from 5 until 8, and it is part of our M&T Bank series. M&T Bank very generously supports Buffalo Art Studio along with several other organizations so that we can have these big events on the fourth Friday of every month. It's free and open to the public. Jay's work will be on display, as will another set of artists. We will have a lovely spread of reception snacks, which are free, and then we have a donation-based bar. And you've been to our events before. We're in Tri-Main Center up on the 5th floor. There's lots of free parking, and it'll be nice and cozy and warm.
That's right. And what's nice about the spaces, you get to see the artist spaces that they work in, too.
Right. So we have 3 galleries. We have a whole education suite, but we also have 30 studios that surround the galleries where artists make their work. So many of them will be on site for the Fourth Friday events, as they always are. And it's a chance to talk to both Jay and the other exhibiting artists, but also to these artists that are our neighbors, that are literally living here in Western New York and making their art just a few miles from here from the studio.
That's right. How can we learn more about Buffalo Art Studio and your resident artists?
So we have a wonderful website, buffaloartstudio.org, because we are an organization and not-for-profit, but we also have a vibrant social media presence. You can find us on Instagram and on Facebook. And the best thing you can do, though, is come on down. We're 20,000 square feet. It's really hard to capture that in a 1-inch square on a screen.
Yeah.
So I encourage people to come down. We're friendly, we're kind, and we really throw a great party.
That's right. Well, thank you so much for coming in and sharing more about this. Viewers, you can view this exhibit for yourself starting this Friday at the Buffalo Art Studio. You can find more information at buffaloartstudio.org. Thanks again, Shirley.